Remember about 10 years ago when Trump promised us a new healthcare plan in about 2 weeks? It was always coming out in 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Well, we're a decade in and there's still nothing. And the topic of healthcare came up in one of his recent press conferences. And get a load of this.
Mr. President, at the end of this year, those extended Obamacare subsidies expire. What's your message to those 24 million Americans who will see their insurance premiums go up?
Don't make it sound so bad because, obviously you're a sycophant for Democrats. You're obviously a provider of bad news for Republicans. Let me just say something. The Republicans, I think I can speak for Tom and most other people. I think what most Republicans want to see is what I want to see. And I leave it to them, and hopefully they're going to put great legislation on this desk right here. We want to see all of the money that's been squandered and given to insurance companies because Obamacare is horrible health insurance. It's far too expensive, and it always has been. But what it really is a way of making insurance companies rich. We want the money not to be paid at all to insurance companies. Insurance companies have gone up 1,700% over a short, meaning the stock. 1,700% over a short period of time. And they've taken in hundreds of billions and even trillions of dollars. And we want the money to go to the people. They'll go in the form of a insurance account, healthcare account, or any other form that we can create. We have a lot of different forms. We want to give the money to the people and let the people buy their own great healthcare. And they'll save a lot of money. And it'll be great. Now, the problem we have is that the Republicans are not at all controlled by the insurance companies. But you know who is? The Democrats. The Democrats have received hundreds of millions of dollars. They're totally controlled by the insurance companies. So we might not get too many of their votes. But I actually think we'd get some Democrat votes. So I don't know how you feel about it, Tom, but everybody wants to see this happen. Everybody. I put it out, and all of a sudden, we've taken over in a positive way. The Republicans have taken over healthcare in a positive way. I want to see the billions of dollars go to the people, not to the insurance companies. And I want to see the people go out and buy themselves great healthcare. Much better healthcare at very little cost. That's what I want. And it's so simple.
So simple that it's been 10 years and you still don't have a healthcare plan put forth. I don't know what this whole ramble was, but it definitely was not a healthcare plan if I've ever heard one. I'm not sure what that was. He made up a word, sycophant. That's not even a word. It's sycophant is how it's pronounced. He must have learned that one recently because he's surrounded by so many of them. But Mike, the substance of what he said here, if you even can call it that, he said, the Democrats take money from health insurance and the Republicans don't. Well, guess what? Absolutely false. Total 180, the truth on its head. The top 10 members of Congress that have taken the most money from health insurance, guess how many are Republicans? 7. 7 of the top 10 are Republicans. The top 3 are all Republicans. Mitch McConnell has taken over $1 million from healthcare. Kevin McCarthy has taken between $800,000 and $1 million. Paul Ryan has taken over $700,000. These are historical numbers, unprecedented, all Republicans. That's the top 3 right there. All Republicans. This is his party. So total fabrication there. He said Republicans took over healthcare. What does that even mean? The Republicans took over healthcare. And done what with it? Absolutely nothing. There's no plan. There's nothing. So what does that even mean? It's just nonsense. Trump says he doesn't want the money to go to insurance companies. Well, where does he want the money to go? That's how healthcare works. You get money, you pay an insurance company, they provide you coverage, and then you go to the hospital or the clinic or your doctor, and then it goes through insurance. What is he? I don't think he even knows what he's saying at this point, Mike. And then finally, I heard him say that healthcare insurance companies took in trillions of dollars. I don't even think that's mathematically possible. The entire GDP of this country is in the trillions. What is he saying that healthcare companies took in trillions of dollars? So much of this just makes absolutely no sense, Mike. What do you make of this absolute nonsense that we heard?
You said it best there, Emmanuel. It's all nonsense. As you mentioned, the fact that he's saying, I don't want to pay the insurance companies. Well, that right there is the problem. Like, these subsidies pay the insurance companies so that they lower the cost for individuals. So by not paying them, you're automatically raising the cost, because insurance companies are going to say, man, we're missing a lot of money. How do we make that money back? We charge people more. So that right there is the core and crux of the entire issue. And people need to remember, we had a government shutdown, and it was the longest government shutdown in history, specifically because of these ACA subsidies expiring. That's it. And these ACA expirations could have been saved when they voted on the big, beautiful bill, but they were explicitly left out so that they would expire. And again, the reason that they're cutting the subsidies is not to put money in the hands of individuals so they can buy their own insurance, like Trump is saying here. The reason they did it in the big, beautiful bill is to help finance the tax credits that they're giving to the billionaires. That's it. So they're taking money from the poor who need it to literally survive, and they're giving it to billionaires. And I think the biggest lie that Trump said in that entire thing, I mean, he said quite a few, as you highlighted. The biggest one that he said, in my opinion, is everybody wants to see it. Everybody wants to see this happen. Everybody wants this. No, they don't, because if they did, there would have been no government shutdown. If they did, there would be no upcoming vote. So clearly that is untrue. And this is just Trump's way of trying to steamroll and railroad his whole, his whole idea of what I want, everybody wants. And you mentioned how the Republicans, how he said the Republicans have taken over healthcare and whatnot. But I think another thing that's interesting to highlight there too is that he prefaces that with, "Oh, as soon as I put it out there, now all of a sudden we're taking over, and it's in a positive way, blah, blah, blah." So not only is it not in a positive way, not only did they not really take it over, but it all stems from him. It's all this narcissistic, I said it, I'm the one that brought it up, I'm making this a good thing, when the reality is it's everything but. And I think the fact that he also sits there and says, "Hey, Republicans, like, I want, I expect the Republicans to send me a good bill that I can sign," and blah, blah, blah. So he puts it out there, but then he puts everything on the Republican legislature. So he wants them to figure it out. He's not going to lead. If he's got such great ideas. I mean, he's putting things out there. Why not put out a plan that's good for Americans, that accomplishes what he said, where it's going to be much better healthcare? It's so simple. Remember, that's what he said. So simple. It's going to be much better healthcare, and it'll cost significantly less. So if it's so simple, he could put it out there, and then they could vote on it or whatever. They could write it up in the legislation. But instead, he's putting the responsibility on the legislature to come up with something. And then if it passes, he's going to take credit. And if it fails, then he's going to blame them. So this is classic Trump behavior of kind of scapegoating other people, where he brings something up and makes it a big deal and forces other people to put their heads on the chopping block. And then if they don't, he puts their head on the chopping block anyway. So it is very, very interesting. And the fact that he even said when asked, or I think he wasn't specifically asked about it, but he tried to elaborate, saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to cover this in all these different forms. We've got all these ideas," and he mentioned like the HSAs and whatnot. But then he says, "and other forms." So it's still super vague. They have no idea what they're going to do to replace this with. And at the end of the day, they don't even need, even if they do think, "Oh, the Democrats are controlled by insurance companies or whatever," they don't need the Democrats to pass this. They have the majority. They can pass whatever they want. So I feel like no matter what way you slice this, it all falls on the Republicans. They're the ones that caused this problem with the big, beautiful bill. They're the ones that caused this problem with not agreeing to negotiate during the shutdown. And now they're supposed to call a vote, but Mike Johnson has even said that he's not going to call one. So the vote may not even happen on the subsidies. So when these prices go up, not if, but when, because that seems to be what they're doing here, then you have nobody left to blame except the Republicans. And the fact that the question was asked about these, and Trump said, specifically about the prices going up, and Trump starts by saying, "Don't make it sound so bad. Don't make it sound like a bad thing. Everybody wants this. It is a bad thing, and nobody wants it."
Look, tomorrow is the 31st. It's the last day of the year, and it's pretty much the last day for any possible change to affect the ACA subsidies. Otherwise, they're finalized on the marketplace because the new year is beginning. This is when open enrollment is, and this is when people have a deadline to figure out their health insurance. Nothing's happening here. The Republicans dropped the ball during the shutdown when they could have negotiated. They said, F that, we'll starve people instead. And so the Democrats were kind of held hostage there because they don't want to get blamed for all the snap that the Republicans were taking. So not only were the Republicans holding healthcare hostage, they also doubled down and held food assistance hostage to cover for their healthcare hostage. It's craziness. It's a double evil. And look, if anyone starting in the new year in just a couple days, when they see their healthcare premiums, sometimes double, even triple, quadruple, they need to know who's to blame here. And there's only one party and there's only one president to blame here. And it's pretty obvious who that is. And I think one big reason why Republicans are afraid for the midterms is probably not just the Epstein files, not just our economy that's gone to absolute shit, but also the healthcare subsidies that they completely dropped the ball on. And I really, really hope they feel the pain next year because that's exactly what they deserve.